the recipe on our website. So if you are looking to write down the recipe while Chef Marco is walking us through everything, don't worry. We'll post it up on the website at pacificalumni.org. So I'll go ahead and introduce our chef. So this is Chef Marco. He is our executive. He is our executive chef at the DeRosa University Center at University of the Pacific. A little background on him: he was brought up in a family where growing and picking your own food was part of everyday life. It was taught to him by his grandparents. He has a background in classic and eclectic cuisines, and has dedicated himself to making sure that he's using sustainable foods. And it's proven to be a really valuable passion that he brings to any team he's on. At the age of 8, he was introduced to music and fell in love with French horn. He got to travel the world with a conservatory from Chile. After working in a bunch of different backgrounds, Chef Marco found his calling and graduated from the California Culinary Academy in San Francisco. That opened the door for him to work in places like Jamaica and Cuba and Puerto Rico, where he was able to study different types of cuisine. He moved back to San Francisco, where he worked in a bunch of restaurants across the US. Then he relocated to the Central Valley and was a part of an opening crew for a new restaurant in Modesto. He's been featured in cooking shows. He's part of local chef events. He's been recognized as Bon Appetit's Chef of the Year in the California Western region, and was recently awarded in 2019 the Compass Group Chef Award from Bon Appetit. When in the kitchen, he is a dedicated father of 2. Him and his wife enjoy exploring the local region in search of fresh foods and spirits. We are so lucky to have Chef Marco on our team at the University of the Pacific, and we're so lucky for him to be with us today. So Chef Marco, I'm throwing it over to you.
All right, well, thank you for that introduction. So yeah, I mean, I've been here since 2008, left shortly for a few years to work in USF, and then I came back to the account that saw me grow in the first place. And it's great to do this, this little segment of cooking. I know that, dishes can get boring after a while, but you're looking at your pantry and you're looking to see what you're gonna do for the day or for the week. One of the things that we do at the house, we usually cook for either 2 or 3 days. Works great when you have kids in the house. And I am working, and my wife is also in the school district in Tracy, and she's working as well. So the kids are home. We need them to eat something, and I'm really lucky to have someone like my wife that she does 90% of the cooking at home. So she knows the taste of the kids better than I do. But if they ask for something, mac and cheese is one of the things that we do and won't fail. Pasta is one of the things that I always find in our pantry at all times. And today what we're going to do is going to do a classic carbonara dish, which is very simple. The name sounds fancy, and it's a really simple dish. 3-4 ingredients will make the dish perfect, which will be pasta, egg, and some cheese. And then in this case, we're going to use bacon. Some recipes call for prosciutto, guanciale, which is cured pork jowl, and that's something very, very traditional that they'll use for carbonara. So I'm going to start with a few things. First and foremost, you have to have some water for your pasta, which I have it boiling here in the corner. You can barely see it. But one of the things that you do with pasta is that you want to have at least 3 times as much water as the pasta itself. And you want to add a little bit of salt to that water. That way there's some flavor to the pasta. So, I'm going to crank it up. I've been boiling it for a while. I'm going to add some salt to it. Just salt it like you're going to season, let's say, a salad. Don't over salt it. Some people do add a little bit of oil. That prevents it from sticking, but if you follow the ratio, it's actually the best way to do it. So while that's going, The way that you start carbonara is with some bacon, and I already have some bacon here, chopped it up, and I have a cold pan on my stove. So you're gonna put that on, and you're gonna render the fat of the bacon. That's what we're doing right now. You wanna try to spread it out, as much as you can flat to expose that searing surface of the bacon to the pan. You're gonna let it go in there. I'm actually gonna move it to the side. Let's see. So while that's cooking, and what we're trying to do here is render all the fat out of the bacon, get those little crispy bacon bits, and then we're going to take that bacon bits out, and we're going to put the pasta that's going to be cooking in the water back here, and we're going to dump it onto that bacon fat. If there's a lot of bacon fat in there, take some out. If you don't really want that bacon fat, you can just get rid of it and use butter. You can use olive oil, or you can use any kind of fat per se. This way is the traditional way to do it. So we don't want it to burn. We want it to keep moving it so it renders nicely. And I'll do a close-up on it once it's ready so you guys see what it should look like. We're gonna jump out and get the egg, the Parmesan cheese. I am using grated Parmesan. So a little fork, you get a couple of eggs. We're prepping this for family of 4. You maybe get a portion out of an egg. I don't like it too eggy, so I kind of stretch out the egg, the actual Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of pasta water to add on to make the sauce. So this is really a one-pot wonder kind of dish where you're gonna be cooking out of that sauté pan, and the only other pot would be the pot boiling the pasta. So I'm gonna crack the egg. That, got a shell in there, get that out. And you wanna add probably about a teaspoon per egg, a tablespoon at the most, if you like, Parmesan cheese, but you can always add more cheese as you're cooking the dish in the pan. So what you wanna do is you have here the egg and the Parmesan cheese. You just wanna whip it so it all incorporates, and that's your base for the sauce. And you can do this, while the bacon is cooking. You can do this ahead of time. It's up to you. It'll hold in the fridge overnight if you want to have it ready. So my pasta water is boiling. I'm gonna use some fusilli pasta, one of my favorite pastas, because all those little ridges in there will lock onto the sauce. That is tomato sauce, that is, in this case, the carbonara sauce. Even olive oil, when you do like a pasta primavera, that'll work really well because it'll cling to all of the sauce that you will get from your dish. So I'm gonna add on the pasta to the water. And we will let it cook all the way through. I like mine a little al dente, so I usually pull it out when it's not all the way cooked and finish cooking it in the pot with the bacon. So bacon is rendering. It's starting to crisp up just a little bit. You can also add a little bit of white wine instead of the pasta water, or you can do both.
Chef Marco, if we were going to use a wine, what type of wine would you recommend?
White wine, something like Sauvignon Blanc will be best. Nothing too strong, nothing sweet. But you know, if it's good enough to drink, good enough to cook with. So we're almost there with the bacon. Pasta still cooking. One of the things that I love to cook, or to put in this, is also some garlic. So I'll get a clove or two, depending on how much you like it. And here my bacon is ready. And I'll show you all the bacon fat there. There's the bacon bit. Removing those. You know, and the see in the pan, there's all this little bit stuck to it right there. That is all flavor. So don't get rid of that. We're gonna reserve that pan. And we're just gonna wait for the noodles to be ready. Which only about 2 more minutes of those. So when you do the garlic, one of the things that I do, you know, I have peeled garlic already, but if it's not peeled, you get your knife flat, put it on top of the garlic clove, crush it, and it makes it a lot easier to chop. Another trick is also, when you're chopping it, add a little bit of salt to that, and that'll help you crush it and make it a little tasty, which the more you crush garlic, the more flavor you will get out of that clove. So a little bit goes a long way. So this. All right, got our garlic ready. Pasta is almost there. Oh, another thing also. So while the pasta is going, you know, when I go to the store nowadays, one of the things that I've found the most you have to be available is zucchini, squash, and onion. I don't know if I'm the lucky one to be able to find that, but those are the vegetables that we've been living daily pretty much for the last 3 weeks. I mean, we really like them. So when you get those veggies every day, you do want to make things a little different to make them, you know, available or, you know, tasty for the whole family to eat. One of the things that I love to do with those is just cut them, and I'll show you how I usually cut them. So we usually cut them about this thickness, which is a little bit of a 1/4 inch, cut it in half, so a little half moon. Onions in large chunk squares, you know, and then make a little medley with that. And I either roast them, saute them, or you can do a little tempura batter. That if, you know, we have another class, I can show you guys how you make that. Very, very easy. But in this case, we're just gonna quickly saute and I'm putting on top of the pasta. So a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. I'm gonna put some of that garlic which is chopped. And I also like, for my dry spices or dry herbs, I really like dry oregano. It just brings me back to my childhood. You know, that's really what I'm looking for, something really tasty. And besides having fresh garlic, I always like to have a little bit of powdered garlic too. So just to have that kind of a fresh garlic taste and the deep roasted garlic taste as well, and a little bit of paprika. Olive oil. And you can just saute those. You can roast them with the same spices. In this case, we're going to saute. That pasta, which is almost there. We can start that. So vegetables will take in the oven if you roast them 375. 5 to 7 minutes. So they're nice and bright, still have, a little bit of green colors to it. Everything gets, super, like the red onion will get nice and bright, the mushrooms will get nice and roasted, the zucchini will be, super, super green. If we saute them, again, it's just a quick saute, depending on how thin your vegetables cut them. That's how, that depends. That will tell you how long they're gonna take. When I do saute, I like to get out the pan with the oil just hot enough to put the vegetables, and I don't touch it. I just let it be, and I let that pan sizzle for a few minutes, and then I quickly turn them. I let it sizzle for another 2 to 3 minutes, and it's done. So let's do that right now. Right there. Let them be.
Chef Marco, I have another question for you. You always see people trying to figure out when pasta is ready. I've seen people throw it at walls. I've seen people feel it with their spoon. Do you have a trick, or do you just know how it feels and when it's ready to be done?
The best thing is just to try it throughout the whole process. Each pasta is different. Spaghetti, I do remember my grandma just getting one of those noodles up and just throwing it on the wall or throw it on the ceiling. If it's stuck, it's done. If it's not, it wasn't done enough. This fusilli pasta, it's just best to try it out. As long as you see, I didn't put any oil on it, and I put it in this little colander thing, and it doesn't stick to each other whatsoever. And I can just try one out. Very hot. Whew. It's a little under, but we can work with that. Any pastas right now, nowadays, what you get at the store, every time you read the instructions, they'll say it'll take about 5 to 7 minutes. And it's actually pretty true. They take about 5 to 7 minutes, no matter what the quantity is. Unless, we're doing like we do here, every time we cook pasta, we make about, I think we go through 60 pounds of pasta a day. So that'll take a little longer than 5 to 7 minutes.
One other thing I've noticed when I'm at the store is that maybe there isn't regular pasta available, but that garbanzo bean pasta or gluten-free made with corn. Do those have different cooking times? Are they less, more?
They do, and one of the really bad things about the garbanzo pasta or all these gluten-free pastas that are available is that they break down quite fast after you cook them. So don't cook them ahead of time. Just cook them a la minute. When you're gonna use them, they do take a little bit less time to cook, and they go from being perfect to being mushy within like 30 seconds. So you have to be very careful on those. The way that I would do is I would get my water ready, get it boiling, add a little bit of salt to it, and throw a couple noodles, see how long those take, and then that'll give you an idea of how long the dish will take or the pasta will take to cook. So let's go and finish the carbonara. So I'm gonna turn that on again. Get that bacon fat sizzling, and this is just maybe 2 teaspoons of the bacon fat that's left in there. And those 2 teaspoons can go far on how much you can get out of that as a sauce, a finishing sauce. Now, I did forget to grab some white wine, but we'll just work with just the pasta water, which works perfectly. The reason why I use the pasta water is because there is the starch that the noodle will release will act as a thickener for the sauce itself. So one of the things that you don't want to do when you make carbonara is you do not want to add that egg and cheese mixture with the pan sizzling hot, because that'll curdle your sauce. Remember, there is an egg in there. So what you do is that you're going to add your pasta to the dish, saute with the garlic, and then you're going to turn it off, and you're gonna add that cheese and egg mixture, and you're gonna fold in some of that pasta water on it. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So we got that bacon fat sizzling, add the garlic, just really, really fast. You're gonna add your pasta. And you know, you're kind of deglazing the dish itself right now. I'll show you all those bacon bits are actually going into the sauce itself. We're going to add a little bit of pasta water. And just move that around, scraping the pan on the bottom. Now, most carbonara dishes call for peas. We do not have peas. We have broccoli bits, just something I had in the pantry. Believe me or not, I ran out of peas too. So we're gonna add that bacon to it. Now my vegetables have also been searing. We wanna just flip them. All right. Flip them a couple times. I lost a few there. I go back to our carbonara pasta.
While you keep those both going, another question came in. Someone wanted to know what makes, what specific ingredients make this dish traditional. They are looking to maybe make this for some Italian friends. Is it the type of noodle? Is it the egg and the cheese? Is it with the makes it traditional?
Right, so the traditional ingredients will be your pasta. Usually they do orecchietti, is one of the ones that they use a lot for it. I really like fusilli, and this is the pasta that I grew up with. Fusilli, my grandmother she came from Italy, so I think that's the traditional one. But it's a family thing. It's whatever they would have in their area, they would work with those. Now the other ingredients that are basic to carbonara would be egg, Parmesan cheese, and then some kind of pork product like guanciale, which is the jaw of the pork that's been cured and it's high in fat. So you render all of that fat and work it into the dish. Bacon works well. Prosciutto, it's something a little leaner that works really well as well. And peas. Those are the basic ingredients. You finish the actual dish with salt and pepper always. So this is ready. You can see a lot of the water and the bacon are coming together. And at this point, we're gonna turn off the heat on the pasta. And we have our egg and Parmesan mix. Now, what I like to do to prevent it from curdling a little too fast, I'll add a little bit of that pasta water as well to the egg. But you have to do it all at once. So it's a little trick. You get your fork, start whipping a little bit, and get a little pasta water, and you temper that just so it doesn't curdle. And just a little bit of that. So the temperature will be kind of the same of the temperature of your pasta dish. And after that, you will take your pasta, start hot, and start folding that.
So this might have to be a teamwork exercise at home, or else we're gonna
Right.
messy.
Yeah. I believe it's one of those dishes that when you go to a restaurant, cooks are intimidated by it because you don't want it to curdle, and the key is just to temper that egg and cheese with a little bit of water. And this is the finished product. I'm not sure if you guys can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Perfect. So, you know, there is, the sauce is just a little clingy to the noodle, and that's why you want those noodles to have a little bit of ridges. Now, if you do want it a little thicker, you can always turn the heat back on and just swirl it around.
And you would keep it low so that we don't end up with scrambled egg pasta, right?
Low or medium, and then just, you know, just swirl that a few times, and it's done. Finish it with a little bit of pepper. Now, pepper is for taste. Salt is for flavor. You know, if I say that, or if I explain that. So we grow up with salt and pepper, you know, always finish dishes with salt and pepper. In a restaurant, when you use pepper, it adds flavor to the dish. That's if you want that flavor. If you want, if you want that taste. If you want to just enhance the flavor of a dish, you add salt only. Now you can do salt and pepper, but you're gonna add taste and flavor. So in this case, we do want that pepper taste, and we do want the flavor to come out with a little bit of salt. Now I cooked it for a little longer, so that sauce got very thick, and I almost have nothing in the spoon. It's all clinged onto the noodles itself. So this is, what was that?
One other question that came in.
Yep.
We have a little bit of the colander in your pasta pot, a little envy, and someone is trying to find it on Amazon. Does it have a name as we build our home kitchen?
Oh, I know it as a pasta colander. So these are, I'm not sure if they make this guy smaller, but these are part of a big pot that is called a rondeau. But what we use at home is it's a steamer pot. So that steamer pot, we usually has an insert, a round insert. We use it in a bigger pot, and you know, it fits for what we want. But those are just called pasta colanders. And then going back to the dish, so it's all done. It can hold for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Try to serve it right away, because the egg will start curdling if you reheat it once again, or if you let it cool down and add, you know, some heat to it. Now, if you do need to reheat it, the way to do that is that, you know, it'll be cooled down completely. Add a little bit more pasta water to it, that it's really hot, almost boiling, and you can put it back on the stove and just swirl it around a few more times, and the pasta will come back to life. Okay? To finish it, you're just gonna get a little bowl. We're gonna get this pasta right in there. And then we're gonna take those veggies that we were sauteing. You know, I just flipped them one. They're nice and bright, really nice color. Just put them on top. And we got our bacon bits, which you can add into the pasta dish when it's done, or you can just top it off. I want to top it off. And it wouldn't be Italian if you don't add more Parmesan cheese on top. So that's what we'll do.
Chef Marco, while you finish up that dish, I think we had someone cook along with us. Mojo,
Right.
If you made the dish, do you want to show everyone? People are very curious to what your dish looks like.
Yeah. So there's the dish. And let me try it. Make sure it's good.
And there's Mojo for Love's dish. Looks pretty similar.
Nice. Oh, yeah. All right. I got lunch now. That's really good.
Uh-oh, let's see if we lost our chef. Oh no, maybe we lost our connection. Oh, what a bummer. Well, another quick follow-up to a question that we had earlier. Someone in our alumni relations staff jumped on Amazon and found it. It's called a pasta insert. So if you're looking for, oh, it looks like Chef's getting back on. If you're looking for that in-pot colander that is on Amazon called a pasta insert, let me go ahead. He's connecting to audio. And we will unmute him.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys see me okay? There.
Yeah, you're crooked again.
Okay. Let me check. Right now. Is that good or no?
We're still
Nope.
crooked. I know, it's so touchy in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
All right. We're back. Technical issues. Still a little crook. Can you guys see me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I guess the pasta dish came out okay. So I guess one guest actually made the pasta dish.
Yeah, it looks like we had someone follow along step by step with you.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so the other thing that we always have, at least, you know, my family, it's always salad. I am from Chile, so the family meal time is very important, and you would always see lots of veggies, some kind of starch, a little bit of protein, and then you would always have at least 2 or 3 kinds of salads. The one salad that was always part of the meal was just a mixed green salad or spinach with just a lot of veggies on top. So,
Chef, sorry, we might have an emergency in the kitchen. Someone accidentally poured out their pasta water and they want to know how they can temper their sauce.
Just a little bit of hot water.
Perfect. So just hot water.
Just a little hot water. It'll do the trick.
Didn't want the pasta to go without getting the sauce. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it just, you know, if you don't have the pasta water left, you throw it out for X reason, just get some hot water, just pour it, temper it into the egg and cheese, and you're still good to go. Okay, so when I was doing the salad, we would make our vinaigrette from scratch. So my favorite vinegar is red wine vinegar, olive oil. And when I went to cooking school, they would always tell us to put a teaspoon of mustard, that is Dijon mustard or some kind of grainy mustard, that will add flavor to the vinaigrette, but also it would add consistency to viscosity to the vinaigrette itself. I like it just the way it is, just like this. The ratios that you have usually making vinaigrette, it'll be 1 part vinegar, 2 parts oil. That is the French way of doing it. You can go up to 3 parts, but I really like the flavor of the vinegar itself. So I like 1-to-1, which I think it just, you know, brings the healthiness up, you know, since we're not using as much olive oil or canola oil. In this case, I have grapeseed oil. So one of the keys of doing a vinaigrette successfully is to flavor your vinegar before you add the oil. So you want to add, you know, some pepper. You also like to add salt. And remember, it is vinegar, so you need to balance it with enough salt. If it's too vinegary, it means that you didn't put enough salt in it. Most of the time, 90% of the time is that. Now, if you don't like the sharpness of the vinegar, especially red wine vinegar, by all means use balsamic. You can use white wine vinegar, but I really like red wine vinegar. Another thing to do as well is to put a little bit of honey or a little bit of sugar to balance the acidity in your vinaigrette. So I'm just making sure that the salt and pepper is dissolved. One other thing that I love to do all the time is make pickled onions, pickled red onions in this case. So this I made earlier today. And all I did was I got some red wine vinegar, put it on the stove, added a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. And I thinly cut slice of red onions, and they look like this. And I put them on top of salads. We made a turkey chile verde for the grove today, and I added some of this guys with a little bit of queso fresco on top. It's really good. And you can use that vinegar that's in flavor with the onions as your base for your vinaigrette as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to this vinegar. And then I'll just try it. Yep, balanced. The way you'll know that it's balanced enough, at least for me, it's that it won't shut my throat, like it won't make me go like that. It goes down easily. That's when I know that it's balanced enough. If it's not, a little bit more sugar, a little bit more salt or pepper, just to balance off that acidity in the vinegar. Now, you can whisk it, or since I have a self-closing cup, I'll just shake it in there.
So for us at home, we could do this in a Ziploc container. We could do it in a mason jar and keep it for keep a whole week?
Oh yeah, this will keep in my fridge for a couple of weeks. You know, we'll put fresh garlic in there. We'll put some chopped shallots or onions. They'll still keep because it's acid. It's really, really acid, so it won't really go bad. As a rule of thumb, anything that is so very high in acid or high in sweet will take longer to decompose, you know, to go bad, I should say, not to decompose, but it'll last a little longer in the refrigerator. So vinaigrettes are things that would keep in your fridge for a very long time. I would say up to 2 weeks if you don't put any vegetable in it, like garlic, fresh garlic or fresh onion. So this is my vinaigrette for the salads. And one of the things that I found in the fridge was some spinach. So it's basically just, you know, get in the spinach. I'm putting a lot of veggies that you have right on top, or you can toss them. We're gonna toss it. Make it a little tastier. So we're gonna put some of that spinach. I'm gonna put also some of those pickled red onions, and they look really pretty. I mean, they really get super bright with the red wine vinegar. And let's see, we got some cherry tomatoes right here. So I'm gonna take a bunch of them, hold it with my thumb up, and then run my knife through, and you got them all nice and sliced. We got a cucumber. I'm gonna slice this. That. What else I have? I got some parsley. Actually, the parsley was meant for the carbonara, but it didn't make it, so we'll use it in the salad.
I think it's common thing that happens when you're cooking at home. You notice you have a whole bowl of prepped something that didn't make it into where it needed to go.
Right. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, it's one of those things that, sometimes you plan for it. And even I did. I planned for, okay, I need peas, I need, all these things. And I'm like, well, I don't have peas. I do have broccoli. You can do, like I said, the basic carbonara is just, pork product, egg, cheese, and the pasta. Those are the basic 4 ingredients of carbonara, but you can add a lot of other things to it, make it more nutritious, add a little bit of, maybe even noodles, the zucchini noodles. Those are really good. My wife usually makes that as well to get a little healthier around the household. So we have these, one other thing. So carrot, what I usually do, I just peel it, and instead of cut it through, I'll just keep peeling it, and I'll just add peelings to it. So, it's a little faster, and they're nice and crunchy, and they look really nice. We have different textures, different shapes, and different colors, just to make a salad bright. And we eat with our eyes first. So it's one of the things that we always try to make sure that it looks good, looks appetizing.
Well, and I know when I make a salad at home, it never tastes as good as it does when it's in a restaurant. So maybe the peeling the carrot is the trick to that. And we have another question about peas. So if they do use frozen peas for the carbonara, do they want to defrost those before they throw them in, or can they throw them in with the cooked pasta, and will they cook with that?
Yeah. No, you definitely want to defrost them. If you have canned peas, run them through the water, because they do have a little bit of extra salt to keep them, in the can. But you do want to make sure that the product is defrosted. You don't want to add more water to it. If you add just plain water to the dish, of course, you're going to kind of dilute the taste of the dish overall. So, yeah, I would say go ahead and defrost them. And then you just add a little bit of that vinaigrette, and we'll just toss it up. And it's done. Just put it in a bowl. And one of the things that we do a lot at home is, okay, so we order a pizza. Not that if we don't make pizzas at home fresh, but we do get pizzas ordered. We'll have a nice mixed green salad for me and my wife, and then the kids, of course, have the chicken wings and the pizza. They'll skip the salad. So, this is, something I really like how spinach is coming out at this time of the year. It's really meaty. It's just a really super green. It tastes really, really good. It's actually a little sweeter, what I found now in this time of the year. So we have the carbonara, we have the spinach. Another thing that I like to do with the spinach when it's in abundance and it's so cheap, it's saute the spinach with a little bit of garlic. You actually take a garlic clove, just like this guy. You crush it with your knife, just like we did earlier. You get it in a pan with olive oil, nice and hot. You add your spinach, cook it down a little bit, and then to wilt it, you add a little bit of lemon juice. Just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on the spinach while you're cooking it, and it'll take like 30 seconds. It won't take long, and it tastes really, really good. It's just a really nice addition to a pasta dish, or even as a side dish to put in the side with, if you're barbecuing, anything like that. That spinach dish takes 30 to 40 seconds, and it tastes really, really good.
That's so, especially with what's in season. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I know everyone here is trying to mix up their dinner menu and looking for something new, and this is such a simple dish that we can add. So I appreciate you walking us all the way through that. For those of you who are still on the call, we want to continue this cooking series. So make sure to email the Pacific Alumni Relations at pacificalumni@pacific if you have anything you're looking to make, or if you're struggling with an at-home dish, or you have something in the back of your pantry you don't know how to use, we want to use this opportunity to make sure that we can use our community to help us out. Again, we want to thank Chef Marco. Not everyone on this call knows, but Chef Marco is cooking and cleaning for the whole campus community right now. So any essential employees on campus, all of our students who are still living on campus, Chef Marco is solely responsible for feeding and cleaning. So I'll give him a big round of applause. That's such a big deal, and all of the workers out there right now. Chef Marco, thank you so much again. That was so great. We'll make sure we put that recipe on the website, and I hope that all of you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
You too, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me here today. And again, if you have something in the pantry that you don't know what to do with, let us know. They'll get a hold of me, and we can do it, in another session, or just to send you a quick email and say, hey, this is what you can do with it. There's a lot of things we can do with what we have in the pantry. So, reach in there, get in those candies in there, and see what you have, and let's make something out of that. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Chef Marco. We'll be in touch. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Everyone. Bye.